Hiring managers of Reddit, what was something on someone's CV/resume that made you either immediately want to hire them or immediately reject them? I had a resume from a potential interview candidate that listed his reason for leaving his last job as, "I found a body." No further explanation. You bet your sweet patootie I called him in for an interview. As a strategy to get an interview, it worked. The condensed story is that he found a body while walking the grounds at his job, checking to make sure all gated areas were secure and clear of debris. When he found the body, he called the police. He was fired because he broke internal reporting protocol. He was supposed to notify his immediate supervisor and not outside authorities. It was the supervisor's responsibility to call the police. It seems some states in the US have no laws requiring a person to call the police if they find a body. Can anyone expand on that with facts? I've been Googling the specifics and will post what I find once I have a clearer understanding. It becomes a matter of morality over legality, I suppose. I am most certainly calling the police. He clickbaited you for a job interview, lol. Someone sent over their CV written entirely in the papyrus font from Microsoft Word. May as well have gone all out and used windings. I was hiring for a very competitive IT role last year, and one guy, who didn't have the best real-world experience, added a single QR code at the bottom of his CV. I scanned it and it took me to an online portfolio, including a secure lab with simulations he'd ran, allowing me to test scripts he'd written and also play around in his lab environment. Honestly, I'd never seen anything like it. The guy got the job and has continued to be a great fit. I like this QR code idea, and I'm interested in the test scripts and lab environment. Can you share a little more about what all that was about? Yeah, we're a team of infrastructure and security consultants. The QR code directed me to his page where it asked me to confirm a few details and input some other information. An automated email then came through and allowed me to create credentials to log in. It was a basic H5 web page, containing various scripts and crawlers he'd created. There wasn't much relevant to what we did, but lots of PowerShell stuff which makes our senior leadership's tip a little moist. He also had case studies about migrations, which is something we do. The lab was again something he created himself and linked to an Azure backend that he paid for with his own money. It allowed me to use his scripts, edit them and run them on his lab, and allowed me to see how passionate he was about what he did. Guy is flying here now. That kind of tenacity is invaluable in IT. I had someone hand me a resume with the HTML code of a porn URL mixed in midway through. I guess he was watching porn while updating his resume and somehow dragged in a link. Guess he didn't proofread it. It was his porn. Wanted to give you an honest audition of his performance. One resume read expert in indoor horticulture. Indoor horticulture was in quotes. Hired. I received a resume from an applicant that included a letter of recommendation from his cat. The letter was hilarious and signed with a clip art paw print. I thought it was great and wanted to bring him in, but the manager for the position wasn't as crazy about it. I guess the point is, humor in an application can work for you, but it really depends on the person. I really hope that cat recommended applicant found their dream job. Subscription to Cat Fancy magazine in the break room, employer-sponsored kitty daycare, etc. Second language was Klingon. Too bad the guy was a total jerk during his interview. This was not in a resume, but during the initial interview. Guy was asked how he would feel working for a large organization, then started talking about being part of a hive mind and compared our organization to the Borg. If you are gonna drop a reference not everyone might get, at least don't compare the people you want to hire you with the baddies. Hiring for retail. 2 all-time favorites. Experienced at stalking the cooler. Responsible for closing paperwork after each shit. Doing the paperwork after each shit is kind of important. You certainly don't want to walk around covered in that stuff, least of all on your hands. A guy put his bench, squat and deadlift numbers in his personal skills section for a bar job. It spawned a long tradition of asking bartenders what they could bench when they applied for a job. So you're saying he set the bar for future applicants? My uncle works in marketing and told me about an applicant who sent them a video file as resume where he presented himself like one would present a product in a commercial. He immediately wanted to hire him for his creativity alone. That person nailed it. For a marketing job, that's a great way to stand out. But some of these people are doing that for like tech jobs or something where it makes no sense. I don't know how so many people can't read situations correctly. I was working for a small digital agency and we were looking for designers and illustrators, general multi-skilled creative types. The boss wanders in with a sly grin and a big folder. It was from a guy who wanted a job. I came over and he started flicking through it. Page after page of sexy cartoons. Lots of them furry type stuff. Boob, butts, lips, figures intertwined, lots of detailed musculature. So I was like, well, it's quite good for what it is. But what else is there? Is there another section? Nope. Nothing else. Just a folder completely full of semi-pornographic cartoon people and sexy anthropomorphized animals. Edit, he was not hired. It wasn't because of the cartoons, it was because it was all just those cartoons. Would have liked to see some commercial applications of illustration, or something showing he could work to requirements, or a variety of work showing different styles. Also, this was 15-ish years ago. I have several CVs that will never make the cut. I keep them in a non-GDPR proof binder hidden out of view. I work as an IT recruiter. Normal CV on the job site. Junior profile, 18 years old, just finished school. Pretty normal CV, except, at the bottom, he writes that he has a small dick and likes guys. The CV goes back and forth in the office. Eventually we decide to call him and ask why he put that on his CV. Turns out he had to make the CV for school, left his PC open and one of his classmates thought it was funny to add that to his profile. A CV with a picture of a man in only his boxers. No headshot, just his abs, boxers and legs. We did not call the guy. Several CVs with people ranting against the government, religion or anything else. Obvious proof of mental disabilities. People writing things such as I will do the time for the crime I may or may not have committed. I haven't called any of them. Cover letters with the wrong company name on it. So many cover letters with the wrong company on it. Recruiters will forget to change your name when sending you an email, applicants will forget to change the name when applying. We really need to get rid of mandatory cover letters. I'll still call them if their profile is decent. People being open about just putting their CV online so they can keep their unemployment benefits. At least they don't waste my time. I had one application dropped off by the applicant's mother. She told me if you hire him, you probably shouldn't trust him with money. Update edit, I threw the application away after she turned around. I was hiring for a sales clerk position at my family bakery. Hiring a software engineer. Among his impressive list of skills were Notepad and WordPad. I mean, gotta get through the keywords scanner. I left Microsoft Office Suite off my resume until an HR lady was like, we really need someone with PowerPoint and Excel experience. I had Python, C++, multiple CAD and FAIR software packages, among other things listed on my resume. Yeah, I can do spreadsheets and slideshows. I had a candidate who worked in counseling in the past, mostly with kids who had been through trauma. They had a line on their resume that said, expert in child kidnapping. I had to at least give them an interview because I understood the intent, but the wording was just hilariously unfortunate. Edit, for those seeking clarity, he was an expert in kidnapping cases. No, he didn't get the job. Nice guy, but not a good fit for the role. Smile. Guy submitted a resume claiming to be a ghostwriter for a local college. In lieu of a college degree, he listed the units he wrote assignments for and the average grades his clients got. I work at an escape room. We once received a resume that consisted in a web page address protected by a password, and 3 well-crafted riddles that we had to solve to get the password. We spent an hour doing it with 2 colleagues, and it included decrypting a code from a specific frame of Zodiac by David Fincher. It was simply amazing. Sadly, we weren't hiring at the time, and she had found another job. We started hiring again. Had a resume come in from a guy we fired about 2 years previously. Had a gap in his employment where the time was he had been with us, so not even like he didn't realize. The confidence to apply for a job you've been fired from. Man, that's something. A guy was said we had to hire him because he had a disability and it would be discrimination if we didn't. He wasn't hired. He called the CEO a few times to complain. We went through it at least 3x over the course of multiple hirings. It was 14 pages. ETA, finance position with 5 to 10 years experience. There's only so many different ways you can describe finance responsibilities, and summarizing is a skill. Dude never pitched for the interview. Why you should hire me for the junior IT analyst role. Chapter 1. From Humble Beginnings. I got my first IT job because I put in additional skills modifying Fallout 3 using Jack. I just loaded custom packs and got them to work, and they gave me the job miraculously even though I was underqualified. They asked me how well I understood theoretical physics. I said I had a theoretical degree in physics. They said welcome aboard. Was looking for a casual salesperson. This 18-year put a selfie of her which was taken in a car showing a lot of cleavage. Not what I was looking for. I guess she was hoping I was a middle-aged single man. Bad emails. When interviewing for a professional position and your contact email is 69 smoke a girl 420 blazing it, a terrible way to start the resume. Right? It's free to make as many emails as you want. Just spend the 3 minutes to make a second email that's firstname.lastname@domain.com for your work purposes. Not a hiring manager, but for years I was applying for jobs with a high school qualification for art and design listed as Fart and Design. Got 2 jobs in that time and countless rejections. Proofreader friends a few years ago listed his education as Savannah College of Art and Design. Almost didn't catch it on the first read. I once saw underachievements on a CV former world's youngest person. It made me laugh so much I gave them an interview. In the end they didn't sell themselves well enough to get the role, but it brightened my morning of filtering. Lol, I one time put on my resume that I A. held the world record for largest air guitar collection. And B. was the Time Magazine 2006 Person of the Year. I got the job. They said they never saw something so ridiculous in their life, so they called me for an interview. I was with them for 2 years.